Before we get into today's content, make sure that you guys are subscribed. We're only 305 subscribers away from our next big milestone of 42K. I got a challenge to the best fans in the National Football League. Hit that subscribe button, and if you do, we'll get started with the rest of today's video. Nobody expected this. The fact that the Baltimore Ravens defense is the reason that this team is winning football games. Now, if you would have told me that, in June, July, August, there's part of me that would have said, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. But after the first, week of this season, I think we all would have been absolutely shocked at this fact, right? I need to throw you back a few months to make this really, really stick, to show you how absolutely unreal the fact that the Ravens defense is as good as it is, and is the fact this team is winning football games. Do you remember what the first 5 weeks of this season brought us? It brought us pretty much every single team we played walking in, whether it was to M&T Bank Stadium, whether it was at their home stadium, and just dropping around 40 on you. 41 in week 1. Week 2, 17 points. Guess what? That was against Joe Flacco. Doesn't count. Week 3, 38. Week 4, 37. Week 5, 44. 44 points. The Ravens had scored through the first 3 weeks of the season 111 points, which was the most through 3 games by a team with a losing record in the history of the National Football League. The Ravens, they were on pace to allow 565 points through week 5, which would be the most points allowed in NFL history. They were generationally bad. They were historically bad. Do you remember them being a bottom 2 or 3 team pretty much in every single statistic across the board? Yards per game, 406.8. Guys, they let up 400 yards a game for the first 5 weeks. 265 of that through the air. Last year, they were bad through the beginning of the year, but at least they were good against the run. Not this year, 141.3 points per game, 33.3, 32nd. And all of that with only 4 sacks. We were talking about firing Orr, not just at the end of the year, mid-season. That was something that we were legitimately discussing. We were saying that this was the worst defense, not just in the league this year, but in the history of the NFL. And then, by the grace of God, something flipped, something changed, and over the last 8 weeks, 6 games, you've been unbelievable. You're on a 6-game streak of letting up less than 20 points. 17 against LA, 16 against Chicago, 6 against Miami, 19 against Minnesota, 16 against the Browns, 10 against the Jets. I get it. You're not playing prolific offenses, but still 14 points on average over the last 6 weeks. Look at the last 3 weeks. Okay, a little bit of a smaller sample size. Top 6 in yards per game. Top 10 in pass yards a game. Top 10 in rush yards a game. Top 5 in points per game. 7 sacks as well. I mean, just look at the comparison side by side between the averages in the first 5 weeks of the season and the last 3 weeks of the season. Your yards per game has improved by 130 yards. Your pass yards per game has improved by almost 100. Rush yards is down by 1/3. Points per game is cut in half. It's been unbelievable. And I would not have believed that if you told me that 6 weeks ago. I would have thought no shot in hell. Now, a big reason for this is because of Kyle Hamilton. Okay? There's more reasons. We'll get into those in a little bit later. But when this coaching staff defensively looked at Kyle Hamilton and said, you know what, we need to get another safety in here. That was Alohi Gilman. And we need to just let you go wherever you want to go because that's going to make this defense better. If you could impact the play more on a down-to-down basis, that's going to be the best thing for the Baltimore Ravens because he was impacting plays a lot in that free safety spot, which is where he played the majority of his snaps in the start of this year. But you can only impact a game so much. But they said, you know what? Let's creep you a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. Let's put you in at linebacker. Look at his snaps by position this season. 168 in the slot, 162 at linebacker, 146 at free safety, 98 at outside linebacker on the defensive line, 52 at strong safety, 13 at wide corner. This guy is everywhere. And that is a big reason that you have seen such a change in the way this team plays defense, in the way that this team wins games. And they've needed to do this recently, play good defense, because, frankly, the offense isn't doing their part. But I also have to give a big shout out to Zach. I cannot stand here 6 weeks ago, call for him to be fired, and then when they turn around and play the way they've been playing, just sweep it under the rug and go say, oh, it's because of these players and these players. No, Zach Orr is a big, big reason that this team has been able to do what they've been doing over the last couple of weeks, okay? So I have to give him his flowers. I have to give him his shout out and say, look, the turnaround, big reason is because of that guy right there. Are you a believer in this defense? Give me a yes or a no. I told you after the Los Angeles game and then the Chicago game, I need to see it one more week, and then I'll call myself a believer. I'm a believer right now. Are you? Let me know down below. We got more to talk about coming up very, very soon. We're going to talk a little bit more specifically about tomorrow's game. We'll give you a full free preview for that in the morning. But before, I got to give you a big shout out. Our awesome sponsor, PrizePicks. It's the holiday season, okay? That means it's the best time of the year for sports. You got bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right, and that's PrizePicks. My wife couldn't even name 4 pro teams coming into this season, and then we started playing PrizePicks. And now every Saturday night, we're breaking down who she's picking for her lineup. It's the most exciting way to watch football. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose FlexPlay, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. PrizePicks also has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. I got a good feeling this lineup is going to get off to a very hot start. Thursday Night Football. Give me the more on Lamar Jackson, 25.5 rush yards. Speaking of 25.5 yards, I'm going to go more on Jamar Chase for his longest reception. And let's talk running back Derrick Henry. Give me the more than 17.5 rushing attempts. Download the PrizePick app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. To round out today's show, we're going to do what we like to do every single week. We're going to go position group by position group. I'm going to tell you who has the edge in terms of Bengals, Ravens. We're going to start with the head coach. I'm going to give the nod to the Baltimore Ravens here. Look, I get it. A lot of you hate John Harbaugh. A lot of you think John Harbaugh needs to be fired. But Zach Taylor, is about to be fired. I would be pretty surprised if we get into next season and Zach Taylor still has a job in Cincinnati. So because of that, I'm going to go with John Harbaugh. Quarterback, I'm going to go Ravens here. Usually, this would be a push. And by the time this game is being played again in 2.5 weeks, it might be a push then, but you got Joe Burrow coming back fresh off of an injury. This is his first game since week 2, okay? So because of that, even though Lamar Jackson has not been playing his best football as of late, give me Lamar over Joe. Running back, give me Derrick Henry over Chase Brown. I'm not even really going to go into much detail on this. The better running back is in Baltimore. In fact, I believe that's the case all across the league except maybe Indianapolis, where I would give Jonathan Taylor the nod, just the way he's playing this season. But if you're comparing Ravens, Bengals, it's Derrick Henry. Wide receiver room, even with T. Higgins out with a concussion, I'm going to give that nod to the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in the National Football League. End of story. End of sentence. Okay? It just is what it is. I love Zay Flowers. I love DeAndre Hopkins. But Jamar Chase, he wins that battle. Just one-on-one. Okay? Bengals offensive line, I think, has the edge over Baltimore. They're not perfect, right? But the Ravens offensive line is far from perfect. Defensive line, I would have gone Bengals here, but Trey Hendrickson isn't playing. So give me the Baltimore Ravens. The way that Dre'Mont Jones, Mike Green have been playing recently, they are looking very, very good. And it's funny because the Ravens are one of the bottom units in the National Football League in terms of their defensive line productions. The only team that's less than them, funny enough, is the Cincinnati Bengals. Also, Dre'Mont Jones, Mike Green, their duo name, Dre'Mont Jones gave them this name, is Draymond Green. I love it. Linebacker, I'm going to give this one a push. Look, Roquan's been playing very, very good since he's come back from injury. I just feel like Cincinnati is a little bit more well-balanced across Mike and Will, across their 2 starting linebackers, 3 starting linebackers, than the Baltimore Ravens are. Even though Teddy Buchanan's been playing good football, I'm going to call that one a push. Cornerback, I'm going to go with the Ravens. Safety, I'm also going to go with the Ravens. This one was close, though, because, they're 2 safeties in Cincinnati. They're playing really good football, but nobody's playing better football than Kyle Hamilton right now. And the quarterback room for Cincinnati is pretty dreadful. Their defense is pretty dreadful in general. That's going to do it for today's show. We're going to get on out of here. But before, I got to ask you this question. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? Let me know down below in the comments section. I'm making a trip. Go see my folks today. Going to do, a day trip there and back. Whatever. I don't need to bore you with the details. But that's what I'm doing. And then I'll be back here. Be live for tomorrow's game. Hope you're with me. Make sure you got me followed on social media, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on both platforms. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel, youtube.com/RavensTV. Right here for David Cobb.